So we feel like men around our age don't normally stay around this area, whether that be for resources or the things like that. We feel like we kind of outgrow Winnsboro, and I was always wondering how can a mayor, or what exactly is the job of a mayor in order to push those things forward to make it more appealing to keep that population growing and the young men that work and that can bring more things into this community. How do you keep those guys here? Like, what can you do on your end of it?
Well, that's a good question, and that's one of the things that I was focused on, and of course, during the my administration, that's what I've been focused on is making sure that young men of your stature and your age group, and hopefully of your expertise, knowledge, and educational status, would be able to appeal to Winnsboro. But then you got to look at something. You got to understand something. Winnsboro also has to appeal to you in order for you to actually want to come back to Winnsboro and to be a part of it, to make it a part of your living lifestyle, and to actually work Winnsboro into your well-being as a family owner, as a family member, or as a family operator. You know, you want to bring your children up in a well-educated area. You want to bring them up into an environment or a community that is going to be more enlightening to your children. So the things that have to happen is that Winnsboro has to change. Now you hear a lot of people talking about the change that needs to be made. These are changes that are being made, and they're being made through this infrastructure program that was offered and has been offered by the President of the United States, and also by the governor. And in doing so, we use these funds that they have allocated and that they have dedicated to us, such as the American Rescue Plan funds. These are dedicated funds utilizing and are to be utilized in order to help young men like yourself who want to look at relocating back into Winnsboro. But when you relocate, you want to relocate into an area that is going to be visible and viable, and it's going to be workable. For instance, how would you like to come back to Winnsboro and find that there's no broadband or there's no internet system here? It wouldn't be good.
No, would not do it.
You wouldn't do it. No.
10 out of 10 would not do it.
No, would not do it. But now let's say if we take and use the funds that have been allocated to us by way of infrastructure funds and by the president and the governor to bring in broadband and to put internet into, try to put it into at least every home as possible. Our children, your little brothers, your sisters, nieces, nephews, they suffered greatly because of not being able to deal with the virtual learning process that was initiated during the pandemic. They suffered. Absolutely. Not only did they suffer, but also the parents suffered. And one of the reasons they suffered is because they didn't even have access to internet. So why not make these things affordable and make them even more accessible to individuals so that they can, put emphasis on these children learning, and so that our kids can keep up, and so that they will be able to, even though they finish high school here, go off and get a college education, but yet look at coming back to Winnsboro because it has everything that everybody else has to offer. Looking at the I-20 corridor, I'm talking about starting all the way from Shreveport to Monroe, to Rayville, to Delhi, and on in. As a matter of fact, it even goes all the way to Atlanta. All of these places are becoming more mechanized. One of the reasons why is because of the water system and the rail systems that they have. Winnsboro does not have that to offer. Right. But what Winnsboro does have is an access from 425 to Highway 61. And it ties you from what? From north to south. Whereas these others are tying you from what? East to west. Yes. So make it as appeasable to young people like yourself by offering the necessary changes to be made in Winnsboro that will give you the opportunity to compete with individuals that are going from east to west. And you, even though you're going from north to south, you still will be able to compete with them by having the necessary facilities located right here in Winnsboro. So to answer your question, how do we appeal to young men like yourself? We do so by preparing Winnsboro, whereas you are being prepared, you're preparing yourself let us prepare Winnsboro to accept you and to bring you into the fold.
Gotcha.